Everybody, it is Elle, and I have gotten your questions about Amy Bradley, and we are going to do the second reading. So, got them all written down. Thank you for participating in that, and we'll see what we get. Documentary was interesting. I did watch it, and we'll hope for the best and see what the reading this time says. So, just spread the cards out here. And a lot of you asked some good questions that I want to thought about. So I'm glad that I did ask for your participation in that. All right. The first one was, has Amy seen the Netflix documentary? It sounds like if it is her, somebody is going to her parents' website on significant dates, birthdays, that kind of thing. And so we want to know, is Amy able to watch that documentary, and has she watched that documentary? So has Amy, I'll pull a card for yes, and I'll pull a card for no. Has Amy watched the documentary? Has Amy watched the documentary? Okay, yes. This is very possible. I go back and forth. She may have, but done it like captured in a weird way. And I say that because while this is a woman who technically is independent, financially secure, all those things is what it normally stands for. There's this little bird here, which I think more is what Amy is. And that bird has a hood over its head, and it's captured by this person who has financial means. And so it seems like she's more of this the captured, there's the owner basically here and the captured. And so if she has, it's very much under kind of a lock and key of somebody else having control over her, is the way I'll put that. But let me take a card for no, because that was our yes card. And this would be a no. Tell me about her not watching the documentary. Oops. Not watching the documentary. Amy not watching the documentary. So again, I feel like we have both cards of financial means. And this person's watching these other people. It's kind of a situation where you've got like the person of power, and then the second generation, and then the generation even below that. So there seems to be this hierarchy of, if it was, it's very much under controlled situation. It feels very controlled. Her situation still to this day feels very controlled. Okay. So let's ask. You asked, is Amy willing to contact her parents? Sounds like she has tried at multiple times. Is Amy willing to contact her parents? Is she willing to contact her parents? Because I hear what you're saying. You're saying, well, if that's her going to the website and looking at pictures of her family, can she also send an email? Is Amy willing to contact her parents? So this is a card of a lot of grief, a lot of kind of your nightmares have come true. You're under a lot of duress. And I think that is the situation. A lot of anxiety, a lot of duress, a lot of what would happen if I did. There's two. If you look, I don't know if you can see this card very well, but you can look it up. It's the Nine of Swords. There's two people fighting down here. So there's also that fear of harm that goes with this card, a fear of trouble that goes with this card. It's very much a person being controlled. And we saw that before, the control, and we have, again, the control that controls her thoughts and makes her not act, is what I see. Okay, so Your next question was Amy the one that is looking at the parents' website? So let me focus on that for a second. Is Amy the one looking at the parents' website? Because there is somebody from the areas that she's been seen that is focusing on pages for 45 minutes sometimes. They log in around specific dates, which are birthdays. I'm not 100% sure that is her that's logging in to do that, because this is somebody being malicious. It's possible it's somebody doing it literally to hurt her. It just looks like if it looks like it's being done in a mean-spirited way. I hate to say that, but that's what I get. I mean, this person is out to hurt other people. And so when we ask about the website and we get this, it looks like it could be used as a power play, control, mind games, things like that. Not what you'd want to see. Not that, so I would say it's not her just logging in saying, oh, look at Brad. Let me look at this page for a while. Instead, it looks like it's something done kind of in a mean-spirited way. I hate to say that, but that's what I got. Okay, another one of you asked, is she sick or immobilized? Like, is something physically wrong with her? Sick, immobilized. And when I say sick, sick to the point, I'm guessing that she can't really like act on her own. Is she sick or immobilized? Um, no, no. This is the Queen of Wands, so she's quite healthy from what I see body wise. The Queen of Wands is very active. I don't see her having some sort of mobility issues or a terrible sickness. I think she'd be in her 40s now, right? Yeah. I just see somebody who I see all these lions around her. Even in this card, she's got the lion here and a lion here and two lions above her head. And I just feel in this there's a lot of issues with that. It's interesting the color of these lions too. I'm being drawn again to focus more on this. And it's interesting the color of these lions, the colors of this card, the color she's dressed in, the color of the flower, the color of the throne. I know many of you are going to understand what this means when I'm pointing this out, and it did jump out to me. The lion was yellow. All right. Why was she dancing and flirting with yellow? Someone else answered that and said Amy was not like 100% gay. She was bisexual. So why was she dancing and flirting with yellow? She's just having fun. This is the happy card, just having a good time, just being a free spirit, getting out there, enjoying herself. It was just, I'm here, I'm having fun, I'm letting it all like go and just gonna dance and have fun and a good time. And there wasn't a lot of connotation behind that on her part. She was just having fun. All right. Is Amy's mind okay? One of you asked because if she is being sex trafficked, which it does look like she probably is from our last reading and from that documentary, and the pictures that arose in that documentary, well, then is her mind okay after all this time with drugs? If drugs are a part of it, is her mind okay? So let's just focus on that for a second. Meaning, can she think clearly still? Is her mind okay? Is she still thinking clearly? Is Amy still thinking clearly? This is the Three of Wands. So this is somebody who's kind of let their ship sail and is waiting for their ship to come back in. That's an interesting card to get for that. It kind of feels, I feel like she has disassociated. I feel like she feels like she's far away. Um, I guess that can be an adaptive method to going through extreme trauma. But that's what I get. It's like she set her mind kind of far away. She's learned to really, really disassociate, is what I feel. And there's things that help her disassociate as well. Yeah. So I mean, in a sense, no, she's not okay because, you're doing all these maladaptive ways to cope with this trauma. That's what I see. Um, One of you asked, does yellow feel remorse? Does yellow feel remorse? Does yellow feel remorse? This is a person that is holding what they have very close to them, and money is very important to them, and they are very greed driven. So they want to be a king, but they don't have a whole lot, you see. He's dressed like a king, but he only has 4 coins. Um, he wants to rule the world, but he doesn't have enough to do so. So it's a classic narcissist kind of sometimes. Let me pretend I'm bigger than I am. Let me pretend I'm more important than I am. Let me grab and be greedy and get what I can. That's what this card sounds. If that sounds remorseful to you, not. No, it's not. Not remorseful. It's I'm going to take and I'm going to keep and I'm going to hold it close and it's mine. Yeah. Okay. Why did she leave her shoes behind? Why did she leave her shoes behind? Why did Amy leave her shoes behind? Okay, let's see. Because her shoes were in the room. They were found. This is the temperance card. This is a card of balance. This is a card. Sometimes, I mean, in missing person readings, this card can signal that the person has become an angel. But we had different story with Amy. She was sex trafficked. And so in this sense, it seems the person's barefoot and they're trying to stay balanced and they're trying to stay, feels more like quiet, quiet. Um, I feel very much so that she was just trying to stay balanced, stay quiet. I don't know what she was wearing that night. She was wearing heels. She may not have wanted to put them back on. Um, but more than anything, I feel it was more like a balance thing. She wanted to stay balanced. Were the shoes she was wearing that night difficult to walk in? That's kind of what it seems like. Seems like she was wearing shoes that were not the easiest to walk in. And she wanted to just stay, you know, feet flat on the floor, I guess. Okay. Someone asked Scientology boat. Brad had brought this up in the documentary that his theory, one of them, it seems like, is that the Scientology boat for people had something to do with her disappearance. It sounded like a couple of them had come onto their boat, were asking a whole lot of questions about her, then what does she like, and things that were odd under the circumstances. So, did the Scientologists have anything to do with that? Did the Scientologists have anything to do with her disappearance? I don't know that they had anything to do with her disappearance. It sounds like they were trying to like help her feed into her kind of their religion. They were trying to get her to kind of convert, you know. This person's down on their knees, sort of like looking in that situation, like looking up to this better way of life, right? A more balanced way of life. It's weird. The balance keeps coming through in here. I think they were just trying to basically sell their religion. I don't see them as people who took from her. In fact, again, I just see this woman cloaked in yellow, and all the little yellow pentacles are coming out at me. And we saw that man with his yellow pentacles being greedy earlier and holding them close. And did see a lot of pentacles in this reading. I'm just going to point that out because we started with pentacles with the girl, the money. And our next card again was, hey, this is money that they're bringing in from this. We saw this guy and he's hanging on to the money maker. And then we've got this too with the money. Haven't pulled a whole lot of cards, but the majority of them have been pentacles of all the suits. We've got two swords and two wands and lots of pentacles. Okay. Is she in Barbados? Is Amy right now in Barbados? Is Amy in Barbados? Well, that's not the greatest card for Amy. And we did get the Temperance card as well, which sometimes is an angel card. And this is the Death card. So not a good card. We are going to ask about her physical state. So it's either she's totally not in Barbados, death to Barbados, she's somewhere else. That's come to a complete end, which it very well may have, because if people are really looking for her in Barbados, she may have been moved somewhere else. So it could be that, and it also could mean that unfortunately she's not here. But we're going to read a little bit more about that and see. So I'd say no, she's not in Barbados, probably not anymore. Is she being detained? Somebody asked, is she being detained? I really see this little ship. It's weird. I didn't notice there was, I think that's a little ship. I really see a little ship back there, and I think she was on that little ship. It's never stood out to me before that there was a ship in that card. I think they took her somewhere else. I think it's death to Barbados. All right. Is she detained? Well, I would say she is, from what I can see. That is a definite yes card. I would say she's for sure detained. Okay. Is she in South America, the Caribbean? Is she still in that area? Is she in South America, the Caribbean? Is Amy still in that area? Yeah, I would say she is. Again, we've got the whole justice thing and balance weirdly. There's some sort of it's a theme in here, and so we're gonna have to get to the bottom of why that is. But I would say she is in that area. I don't think she's where she was before though. Okay. Feels like she's been moved. When you asked, does she have children or a child? In the documentary, one of the ladies said that she overheard Amy in a bathroom asking, can we go see the children? Now, there are many children who are sex trafficked as well. I have to throw that in there because that very much is a possibility in this kind of situation, that they may not have been her children, but children that maybe she was trying to comfort, help someone else in the same situation. Let's hope that's not the case. Does she have her own children? Does Amy have her own children? Does Amy have her own children? I don't feel like she does. That's a no to me. That's a definite no. In fact, it seems like, I hate to say this, but I'm getting if she was pregnant, they would have an abortion. I just feel like that would be a no. She would not have her own child. So tell us about these children. Tell us about the children she referred to. Tell us about the children. Okay, so these children, this is a card of, it seems like there's four. This is a card of somebody handing something to someone and the person's saying no. So I feel like these are children that were kind of, maybe the word unwanted comes to me. The word unwanted. Let me read a little bit more about them. Tell me a little bit more about these children. Tell me more about these children. Okay, well, I hate to say it, but this is a working card. So they very well may be working kids or the kids of the people she is working for. It appears they're somehow wrapped up in this situation. So maybe there's some of these people's her captors' children, or they are children who do not want what's being given to them. Because this is a refusal. I don't want it. And unfortunately, it could be working children as well. That is a possibility. Okay. Not seeing them as Amy's children. So, who were the children she mentioned? That was the next question. And we asked about that. Let's ask if they are her captor's children. Are these her captor's children? I mean, if she was spending enough time with these people, maybe she would know their children. It seems like they're children she may have cared for. So while they're not her children, it does feel like they're children. And again, we have the money aspect in this with the Queen of Pentacles. So it does feel it's possible that these are children that are sort of like, I don't know. I feel again thrown away, abandoned, not wanted. I feel like that sort of thing. And then she tried to care for them, actually, is what I get. Let me ask if they were all also in the sex trade. Were the children also in the sex trade? Were the children she referred to? I feel like maybe not, which is a good thing because this is the Fool and that's an innocent card. Like they were innocent children. So not 100% sure how these children all wrap into this, but in her working world, these children are present. I'll just say they are present. Not her children, someone else's children, children she's gotten to know. But children, it seems like maybe that weren't wanted or something. So I don't know where that all comes in, but I also feel like they're innocent at this point, which is good. That's what we want, which is good. Okay. Someone asked about her current physical health and well-being. We did see that she's mentally anxious, scared, not coming forward because she's frightened, and disassociative. Let's see what else we get. Current her mental health, mental health and well-being. A lot of conflict inside of her is what I see. Very, very conflicted. I think there's a lot of yeah, just conflict in what she's doing and how she's feeling and what she has done. That's what's coming to me. I can hear the words what she has done. So there's a lot of conflict with that. Again, we saw in the first reading, the feeling of her so not being the person she was before. And we see that again here. A very, very conflicted person as to who she has become. Because it's like what I feel is that personality after being in that situation for like years and years and years of doing those things, relying on things to numb the pain. All of that has started to become who she is. So now she sees herself as this, this person that I feel like it's like bottom of the barrel of society. That's what I get in my head. Bottom of the barrel of society. Not a whole lot of self-worth at all. So really no self-worth. And she's been under control for many, many years. And she just doesn't feel good about herself. That's where I feel with her well-being and her mental health. Will she gain her freedom someday? I mean, she's going to be an old lady someday. Will, what happens? What happens to these women? Or are they the women that kind of care for the younger women and sort of teach them? I don't know how it all works, but will she gain her freedom? And that is the Hierophant. That is looking up to somebody who is more powerful than you. I'm not getting 100% that she's going to get her freedom. What I do feel is that she may become a little more powerful and have people looking up to her. I feel spiritually she's barely, really, really struggling. I do. I'm just going to ask for a little bit more on that. A little bit more of gaining her freedom someday. Gaining her freedom someday. The Hierophant is a very traditional, this is the way we do things. You follow the rules, so it doesn't make me feel like she gains her freedom from that. Sounds like she's indoctrinated, if you will. This is the Wheel of Fortune, though. This is things turning in her favor, which I really like this card when I pull it. And you see all those books and knowledge coming out. It almost feels like that documentary, we are going to ask, does the documentary make a difference? There's a lot of knowledge that's coming out here. And I feel like that's a nautical sign in the middle there. I feel nautical. Maybe where her location is. Does feel like she's moved. Does feel like she's moved. Okay. Well, let's read a little bit more. That looks positive, but again, there's she's so, so different. So different. We're going to ask, is someone from Barbados watching, who knows about the case? So watching the website. Is it someone else who knows about the case who's watching the website? Maybe one of her captors, or like we saw, somebody using it to play mind games with her. Is it someone else and not Amy doing that? Because someone's hitting on it there. This is a whole lot of confusion. This is something that looks good, but is not. And again, I think that's the situation. I think, it looks good. It looks like maybe it's Amy. I don't feel like it is. Under this, there's all kinds of things that you wouldn't want to find in these cups. One has a snake in it, It just makes me feel like behind that situation are things you would not want to find, in these yellow cups is a yellow snake. You could put that together. I just feel like maybe there's things behind that yeah, not quite done in the nicest way. Okay. Will the documentary make a difference? It looks like maybe we're going to get more about her location because of that documentary. Will the documentary make a difference? Will the documentary make a difference? I mean, you can only change someone's look so much. This is a calling. So this is a calling and people answering. I like that. I like that because it feels like the call is out, the word is out. People may be answering this call, a call of help. right? A call to help. And it seems like maybe people are going to answer that call. So let's ask about, will we get more information about where she is? Are we going to get more information about where Amy is today? I'm hearing has been. Will we get more information about where Amy is today? Oh, look at all the sneaky stuff. And I do want to point out the background of this card is yellow. Um, it just came through very fast to me, like yellow. Um, there's a lot of sneaky stuff going on. So will we learn where she is? Well, it seems like she keeps being snuck away and moved around is what I get. That's what I'm getting. Snuck around, moved away. Um, it almost feels like they're always one step ahead, you see? Just feels like they're always one step ahead. Will she get away? Sounds like she's tried. Will she get away? Will Amy get away? That's a star card. That's a really positive card for her getting away. I think maybe someday she will. And look again, there's two jars and there's the balance there. Very reminiscent of some of these other cards that we've seen, like the temperance card and the balance. It feels like her life will be more balanced. I do feel like there is an opportunity for her to live a different kind of life. I feel like she's far, far away in a very different world. Huh. It's like people almost can keep slaves or something, is what I feel like. I don't know why it feels like, oh, I don't know. I've never been to Spain or things like that, but it feels Mediterranean. I'm not sure. This is what I'm getting in my head. It feels like that. Um, what's about Amy's future? Amy's future. Tell us about Amy's future. Well, again, I feel like she's going to be watched. I feel like she's going to be in the spotlight. I feel like there's plans to, I just keep getting this whole like almost like a slave situation. It's really strange, but it's like she moves into being some sort of like servant or something. Very weird. And again, I feel very Mediterranean. I want to say like olives and things like that. I know that sounds strange, but that's what I'm getting. Um, all right, so I'm just going to ask, will she be found? We asked that before, and I don't think we got a great card for it. Let's ask again now that the documentary is out. Will Amy be found? So this is someone keeping someone else's mouth shut. And I just feel like that situation has been in this whole, again, yellow background. I feel like that situation has been the whole situation with her is these people keeping people's mouths shut. And I just feel like she's not going to have a lot of power. I just feel like she's not going to have a lot of power in the future. Even though this is the strength card, I feel like the strength belongs to others. I do feel like she does have some, okay. Yeah, I just feel like she is learned to be quietly complacent. Her strength is in obeying. I know that's really weird, but um, there's a thing. learned helplessness. That's what it is. Learned helplessness. There's a thing called learned helplessness, and you can look that up. And it happens to people who have been abused, and she's been very traumatized. And I just feel like there's this learned helplessness very strong within her of you just do as they say and you won't get into trouble, and you just learn to survive. You learn to survive. And, in much of her life in this situation, I think drugs helped her survive. I do, because they help numb a lot of this pain. Okay. Will Amy ever be in the US again? Let's ask that one. Will she ever be in the US again? Will Amy ever be in the US again? I just don't see it happening. I know it's not the card we want to see because I'm right there with all of you, and it's disappointing when you see a card that's disappointing. This is a card of struggling, being down on your luck, not having a lot. Help is there for these people. In historically, this card is like two sort of like struggling homeless looking people with a church right behind them, but they don't go in the church. They're right outside the church, but they don't go in the church. And I go back to that learned helplessness of, there might be help there, but because she's been in a situation where she tried to get help multiple times before and she never was able to, and she paid the price for that, it's like she's even afraid to even like try to get help anymore because she can't. It just doesn't seem even possible in her head at this point. And I do feel like she's far off, and I do feel like she's remote. And I do feel like she is someone who has to take care of a property and get water and things like that. It's very strange what I'm seeing in my head, but um and I hearing the word help house guests. I don't know. I don't know what that is. But it almost feels like this sort of slavish situation. Although it's like one step up from the sex industry. So there's that. It feels like she's kind of like the help, but the captured help. Like you just do all these things every day. You take care of the house and I wish I could figure out like where this is in my head that I'm seeing, but it feels rural and it feels Mediterranean. That's the best I can do, unfortunately. I've never been there. Okay. So it really doesn't look like she's going to come back to the US. We do want to ask about um, her current physical state. Somebody wanted to know if she was still alive. So tell us about Amy's current physical state. We'll take a card for walking around, breathing in a body as a human, and then we'll take a card for the spirit. So is Amy walking around human or as spirit? This card actually is a card of passing. And so I'm not sure. I'm just going to be honest. I'm not sure if she's still alive. It is possible that she has passed. It is possible that she has passed because we have the world, and the world is one and complete ending and moving on into another state, if you will. So when I get the world card for that as the answer to that question, it's not a great card. It's not a great card to answer that question. Um, yeah, it's just not a great card. I don't know what else to say. I'm going to ask for anything else we need to know. Anything else we need to know. I do feel at the end, if that was an ending that I saw where she was different than Barbados sex trap like life. It was living with someone under them in their quarters, taking care of things as you must type situation. Um, I hate to say it, but what I am feeling is that it could have become quite a liability to have Amy with all of this other stuff. And I hope beyond, I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. There's been an awful lot of attention to this case, and I hope to God I'm wrong when I feel that. But unfortunately, it doesn't feel great. Anything else we need to know about this situation? This is the Ace of Wands. So this is new activity, and that makes me feel good about this case. And I say that because there's going to be more activity going on. There's going to be more that's found about this case. So that's good. That's good. That's very, very good. And let me just ask for one final wrap-up card on Amy's situation. What else can you tell us about this whole really horrible situation? What else can we know about Amy? Should we know about Amy at this time? Well, that's the King of Pentacles. So again, if she is alive, which I would love to think, it's on someone property who has money and is this is a king and he's got quite a bit of money. And keeps people to do work for him. Only they're like not just servants, they're more slaves. That's where I get uh, where she ended up and where, if she is still alive, that's where she would be at this time. Okay. I don't know what else to ask at this point, so I'll just ask the regular old, what do I wish I had asked? What will I wish I had asked if I close this reading now? What will I wish I had asked? What will I wish I had asked? Okay, so this is the High Priestess, and this is all the secrets, and this is the hidden, and this is um this is somebody who is very quiet, very to themselves, very inside of themselves, very introverted, um, full of thoughts and emotions, but also going to stay very quiet. And so we get this card with Amy too. If she is alive, that's where I think she is. Very inside of herself. So, it's not the greatest reading when it comes to Amy. I don't see a huge amount of hope that she's going to come home and come to the United States and be found and be rescued. Although I do feel like the direction she's in is going to be like narrowed down more and there's going to be more activity on the case. I'm not sure she's ever going to come home. The cards did not reflect that she would. So unfortunately, that's not what we want to see, but that is what I was seeing. I want some hope in this case. I'll just ask, is there hope somewhere here for a better life for Amy? It's really sad, these cards we're pulling. Is there hope for a better life for Amy? I just feel like things aren't going to change or aren't going to change anytime real soon. This is the Knight of Pentacles. He's the slowest knight. He doesn't move forward very fast. So he's very, very slow. But on the flip side of that, he has planted a seed, and the documentary seems to have planted a seed, and maybe things will grow in the future. And that is a possibility as well, too. It's just not going to happen overnight. I noticed the background is yellow. So you may find some more information about yellow is what I'm getting from these cards that I've pulled again and again. Looks like more information is going to come out about yellow specifically. And maybe some situations in his past that have more similarities with this situation that we're in right now. May find some sort of locations or pointing to locations where she may have been. Not sure 100% that I'm not feeling there's really hope that she's going to be found, unfortunately. Let's just hope I'm wrong because I want to be, but these cards aren't giving me a great feeling in that area. All right, that is my reading. I'm sorry, guys, it's not the best reading. I wish I could bring you wonderful news and say she's located and brought home and things all go back to normal and she's feeling good about herself again, but I just don't see that. On a plus, I do feel like her later years were better than her earlier years. So there's that. All right, take care, everyone. Bye-bye.